right? We do things to really get into the right state so that we can focus effectively throughout our day and really create the exponential results that we're looking to create. Morning routine ends around 12. Of course, I didn't add the working out. I didn't add having the superfood smoothie and protein shake, the meal prepping, and just overall preparation for your day as a whole. Now, you'll see that the yellow part of this, I am a self-love type leader, right? We have people who resonate with terminology like servant leadership, because at the end of the day, as a highly conscious human being, which is what, and it's who I believe you to be here watching this with us right now, we understand that it is our main purpose being here on the planet to be of service to other people. Now, in my journey of really learning intricately about how the mind works and how the body works in order for my soul to creatively express itself, it's taken me about 10 years plus to really understand this information and commit to it and apply these learnings in my life so I can continue becoming a greater and better version of myself. So I wrote self-love at the top there for the first two quadrants, because now mentally, emotionally, vibrationally for myself, I realize and understand that half of my day, because from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. of every single day, I am filling my cup first so that I can now serve from my overflow. So let's move on. Quadrant 3, now we get to work. If I were Dr. O, he'd probably start singing Work by Rihanna. I'm gonna save you that embarrassment right now, and we'll just get right into the good stuff. From 12-
work.
See, thank you. So from 12 to 7 p.m. are our work hours. Now, as an entrepreneur, you really have got to create discipline in your schedule. Because for those of you who are coming off of jobs, getting laid off, learning what it's like for us as holistic entrepreneurs to be doing each and every day, it's easy to become a couch potato and just start snacking on chips, gaining weight, falling into depression. Guys, this is what most people in our world today are experiencing based on what COVID-19 is doing, right? At the end of the day, you always have choice in everything that you do. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But with this quadrant, we really dedicate our time to doing the calls, to pouring out, to giving, right? Because we all know, based on the universal law, in order for you to get more, you must give more. So then we move on to quadrant 4, which is family time. So from 7 p.m. to midnight every day, it is family time. Now, what I love about this diagram, and I hope that you took a note on it so that we can come back to Zoom. Now, what I love about that diagram is that what ends up happening is that it really displays the 3 main pillars that I am so incredibly passionate about. I know many of my colleagues, my partners, my best friends, my clients, they resonate with this deeply, because the 3 main pillars that every entrepreneur, once we really get it and we find our alignment and we realize what works for us, health, business, relationships. Once you understand and you really get it, you ground yourself in those 3 areas, you're unstoppable. Now, in the process of really figuring out what works for you, let's talk about making mistakes. Let's talk about showing up, and let's talk about failure a little bit, right? Because if anyone out there holds themselves to a very high regard and holds that bar of excellence really, really high for yourself in your life, just like me, we don't necessarily like failing, having our ego show up, being wrong, making mistakes. We tend to resonate more with being a perfectionist and then procrastinate. Guys, we have got to get over ourselves, okay? I'm speaking mainly to my generation because we tend to be the clarity generation, as Dr. O puts it, whereas his generation is the action-oriented generation. And they go out, they take action, they realign, and then they take more action. See, with my generation, we love to use the power of the mind and reverse engineer everything, right? We love to see, okay, what are my options? How can I best leverage my focus and my energy? Okay, who really is this person? Do I really want to spend time with them? Do I really want to work with them? And in the process, that sometimes can be very dangerous because we end up self-sabotaging by taking less action than what is really and truly required for us to actually create change. Remember, our conversation today is to really encourage you to step your game up as the leader that you are designed to be, as the CEO of your life as a whole. You are a whole and complete being inside out. I think I'm just going to save you the, you guys want to still see more pictures, or should I just talk about the pictures by a nod of heads? Just talk about them, Steph? Yeah? Oh, you want to see them?
Pictures.
Picture, okay. Okay.
I like pictures.
Closed mouths don't get fed, right? So, all right. So results are the name of the game. Results are the name of the game of life. You must understand that successful people, regardless of what they do in their lives, are solution and results oriented individuals. I see Lori Crosby on here. Miss Manifest is nodding her head, which means I am in the right direction, right? So when it comes to results in life, see, as a holistic practitioner, I learned about holistic nutrition, and I learned about the fact that food is actually medicine for our bodies. Now let's have a quick quantum comparison here, right? Because when we talk about the food that we decide to nourish our bodies with, we can easily relate this to the thoughts that we decide to think to nourish our minds with. Every bite you eat and every thought you think is either doing one of two things. In each moment, you are either creating or you are destroying. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand how much power we are giving each other in sharing this experience? Because as I speak these words of wisdom and truth to you, they're a brilliant and beautiful reminder right back to myself. This is why I got involved in this work. It's because I lacked the discipline. I lacked the consistency, the commitment to actually stay on track to knocking my goals out of the park. If you talked to me about goals 5 years ago, I would have, as Dr. O says, scotoma that whole conversation out. And my ego would have been at the forefront of my conversation. And I would have told you that I know what I'm doing, right? But at the end of the day, time will either expose a person or it will reveal a person. Time is such a beautiful concept that we all have. You and I are long-term players in this game of life. This is why it's so important for us to really understand how to implement holistic strategies so that you can honor at your energy, so that you can respect your energy, so that you can learn the positive reframes in the mind, so that you can choose the more holistic quality foods for you to nourish your body with. Guys, God gave you one temple. One. You only have one place to really live. It's your body. So if we're not doing what's necessary and educating ourselves about what choices we can make to best empower ourselves as human beings before we even look at any area of our lives, we're losing. And I know that looking at every one of your faces on this call, you're a team of winners, which is why we're here investing in ourselves to really learn from one another and engage in the masterminds that empower us, that help us thrive in life, not just survive. I'm excited for tomorrow's call because we're actually featuring one of my best friends, my soul sisters, such an amazing human being, Stephanie Bolin, who's going to be talking about health from a holistic perspective and how you can actually strengthen your immune system. Guys, disease cannot live in an alkaline body. Take this information in. That's a writer downer, right? Because only when you are engaging in consuming the toxic foods, the junk foods, the high GI carbs, the sodas, the artificial sugars, the bleached carbohydrates, whatever you want to call it, that's where disease really learns to grow in the body versus consuming foods that will detox you and cleanse you out. Now, the mind works the same way. And the second part of what I want to share with you today is the quality of your thoughts. See, the way that I really shifted my life, because I wasn't always this way. For those of you who truly, truly understand my story, you get why I'm so incredibly passionate. Ooh, guys, I just stepped my game up and learned how to use Zoom better. Whoop, whoop. See, we're constantly learning, right? I wasn't always this way. In my life, for 2/3 of the time that I've been on this planet, I was overweight. I was insecure. I was depressed. I was confused. I didn't understand why God didn't like me. That was literally my belief system. Thank you, Vinny. Vinny said, still gorgeous in the comments. But the truth of the matter is that my own perception of my self-identity wasn't the way that it needs to be for me to, one, actually get the results that I was looking and working towards so vigorously get. And number two, I didn't see myself the way that other people saw me. Again, I hold myself to such a high regard internally, but what I've always been fascinated about was the concept of manifestation, the law of attraction. So how do I match my external reality to the beautiful divine universe that I know exists within me, right? So when you understand this conversation, okay, let's learn together, y'all. How do I go to the other picture? Let's see. Oh, this is cool. Gotta love Zoom. All right, let's talk about our thinking and our thoughts and our mind as a whole. Again, when you look at the mind, you have the conscious mind, which is responsible for 10% of the equation. And then you have the unconscious mind, which is responsible for 90%. I have a cool story I want to share with you guys. I was actually in a private meeting with Mr. Les Brown, world-renowned, infamous motivational speaker. And he overheard me talking to one of the other young women, boss babes, and empowered females in the room. And I was explaining to her because, again, for those of you who know me, mindset, health, holistic living, abundance, prosperity. I'm so incredibly passionate when I start talking about these concepts. You cannot shut me up. And I tend to start talking really loud too. So he obviously saw that I was passionate because I was saying to my girlfriend, I said, listen, your conscious mind is the goal setter. This is where you can use your thinking. This is where you can, this is the logic side of us. This is where we plan and set goals. But how many of you out there are familiar with the concept of constantly setting goals, but then never reaching them? Show of hands. Like, this is the conversation we got to get really, really real with ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, because I know that not all of you have reached every single goal that you have set for yourself. So back to the story. I was saying to this woman, you see, the conscious mind is the goal setter, but the unconscious mind is the goal getter. Your unconscious mind is where your beliefs, your habits, your values, your emotions, long-term memory, imagination, and intuition are regulated. You guys, all change, all learning, and all behavior happen at the unconscious level. So when we talk about living in a holistic way, the way that I have trained myself and the way that I share with my clients this information to make it juicy, to make it fun, to help you understand that by really embodying this knowledge will give you the opportunity to create a deeper rapport within yourself. Now, I know we're having a deep conversation, but I also know that many of you out there are very powerful leaders, and that this will just help you expand your consciousness and raise your vibration altogether, which is my intention always. As a holistic, whole, and complete human being, once you really learn how to reprogram your unconscious mind, and that's a conversation for another day, but really also honor that 10% that makes up the conscious mind. Let's talk about the quality of your thoughts for a second, because see, that girl that you saw in those photos that was overweight, she was out of alignment. She didn't know what she didn't know. She was struggling in her own mind because she was seeking constantly for information that she didn't even know existed. And so she was putting in the work, putting in the effort. And what she was thinking, if we were to have tapped into her head, were things like, My life sucks. Why am I not good enough? I hate my body. What's wrong with me? Will I ever get to my desired goal? The thoughts that I were thinking were very low vibrational thoughts. Anybody want to know what this woman thinks these days? Anybody? Afia's smiling, and Lori and Karen and Steph have their hands up. So today's version of Fasana that I humbly and so proudly present to you thinks things like, because I'm one of those people who my mind is just constantly going and going and going. Anybody can resonate with it. Like we're creative geniuses. Samara wants to know also, thank you. We are so incredibly creative, and we are old souls living in young flesh, and we're still here living, we're all spirit having this human awakening, right? Today, Fasana thinks, I am love. If there's any room for the voices, Obam calls them the ants, the automatic negative thoughts, right? To creep up in my mind, I start having conversation with myself. I'm love. I am light. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm so healthy. I'm so happy and grateful that I am abundance. I'm so happy and grateful that the universe is working on my behalf. Even when I'm struggling, ladies and gentlemen, and bawling my eyes out, crying those ugly tears that you guys know, as vulnerable as I like to get with you, I tend to do in the privacy of myself, right? I still think to myself, I'm so happy and grateful that God is working behind the scenes for me. I'm so happy and grateful that after every breakdown comes a breakthrough. I'm so happy and grateful that this too shall pass. And I'm constantly staying focused on the vision that I have in mind. Because as my mentor always says, you have to start with the end in mind. You have to. See, along the journey, you're going to have hiccups happen. Life is going to happen. Shit is going to happen. That's unexpected. That is going to test you and see if it can throw you off your game. But once you really develop the mental resiliency from inside out, everything changes. I'm totally doing this completely intuitively. I did say shit, didn't I? Oops, I said it again. My bad. Um, Guys, we have so much fun within this family. I just have to let all of you on Facebook Live know that my family is literally like having our own private conversation and chat. See, we do not do anything without having fun. Our values as a collective are this in this order: faith, family, finances, fitness, and fun. So if this resonates with you, I encourage you to reach out, send me a message, send anyone on this leadership team or on this call a message, because we hang out a lot and we want to welcome you into our space to really feed you with more of this positive energy. Keep it light, keep it fun, keep it sexy. That's just that's our swag, as Benny would say, right? That's what we love. So let's move on. Are you guys still with me? Is this all making sense? I know I'm giving you a lot and we're going really deep. Yeah? Okay, cool. My baby genius club on here is all nodding their heads. So let's move on. So I made a cute picture here, but we're going to go with this one next. 4 stages of learning. Let's talk about mastery next. See, every single skill on the planet is learnable. It's like I like to say, everything is figure outable. You can literally tap into your imagination, decide what the best, most healthy, sexiest, productive, successful version of yourself looks like, and then simply reverse engineer exactly what you need to do tangibly every single day to then become that person in a lot less time than it typically would take you. If you want to have a conversation around that, you know where to find me. This is all I talk about all day long. See, once I started learning this information, this slide in particular changed my life. See, the definition of mastery is doing simple daily disciplines over and 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 wait, over and over and over. You get the point, right? Over and over again until you achieve your desired results. It doesn't matter what we are looking to learn or do in life. You will subconsciously go through these 4 stages of learning. Now, I'm not going to take this training too deep, but essentially I want you to understand that anytime you're looking to learn anything new, like for example, let's use the example of starting a new business. When you start something new, you are at level 1 or step 1 on these 4 stages. Unconscious incompetence. This is where you don't know what you don't know. It's like the first day on a job where you have to allow someone else to train you or mentor you. Just like when you start a new business, you have to depend on someone else to really guide you, to give you the information that you need to know to become a success. So next is step 2, which is conscious incompetence. This is now where a lot of ego smacking happens, because now you know that you don't know. Moving forward to step 3, conscious competence. Now you understand and have a conscious understanding, an idea of exactly what you need to do in order to continue growing and evolving and getting better and better. But if you really want to accomplish mastery, ladies and gentlemen, mastery takes 10,000 hours for you to truly become unconsciously competent in any given situation. You know, it's cool because I use my mentor as an example. He's so like high vibrational and he like lives in like the future, we like to say, right? So everything he does is so unconsciously competent. I know I'm like totally like just, it's not even about like stroking his ego. It's really about just sharing truth. Because one of my jobs in our organization is going to, and he's private messaging me right now, you're throwing me off my game, mister, stop that. So one of my gifts when it comes to working with him is to be able to translate to other people that are on their own journey of really becoming masters in your life, in our lives, how to make small, slight amendments and changes so that you can actually enjoy the process. How many of you would like to do that more? Have more fun, enjoy the process, have more adventure, make it more fun, make it more sexy, make it more enjoyable, because that is possible. That's literally the way that we live. And it took us such a long time to be able to really understand how to, in fact, get to the places that we are in life. And by no means are we done, because really life is a process of learning. It's a lifelong journey of learning. You're only done when you're dead. So please avoid being done, okay? I think that I get emotional. I'm such a big baby, and I will promise I won't cry. I'm going to cry on here, but we have been gifted with a blessing, you guys, of COVID-19, blessing us to really stay in a place of solitude within our homes, to really understand the home that we've been gifted, ourselves, to really make the time to invest in creating the deeper connections with all the right people, to start that business that we've been waiting to start, to finish writing that book, to get that online course up, to realign in whatever way that will serve you best. So I just want to thank you all for spending this past hour with me. I had a lot of fun here with you. I hope that you took away at least like 3 golden nuggets, because I am doing my best to just give you as much information and knowledge. I mean, it's taken me like 15 years to really condense so much of this into a 60-minute, well, it wasn't even 60, it was like 55 minutes of just talking and learning how to use Zoom with you, because we learn and earn and grow all at the same time. So thank you so much for joining us today. I can see that Obam has unmiked himself. So sir, back to you.
Yeah, so you're so technical, like 55 minutes. But it's because I'm trying to give everybody else some love. And here's what I'm realizing. First of all, before I go into anything else, round of applause. Round of applause, because I don't want to say you did a great job because I don't want to send you to jail for this. You killed it. I don't know if the authorities are going to hear, but if they do, you might end up in jail because you killed it. But
Thank you.
what we're going to have to do, I'm going to propose here. So for those of you who are live with us on the Zoom, you can drop this in the comment, or if you're on Facebook, you can drop in the comment just yes if you'd like to see a round two, because I think she's like halfway through in this power hour. So if you'd like to see a round two, drop a yes in the comments. So we're going to have to bring Fasana back like in a few days, because I'm like, you got to pick up from where you're leaving off, because this was like, whoo, my head hurts. And now y'all know why the last 6-7 months I've been keeping a secret all to myself. Well, every now and then, if you eat so much, you get full, you have to let other people eat. And I have been filled. So Carolyn says yes. I'm seeing other yeses coming in on Facebook. Thank you so much. I see the yeses. Okay, so just here publicly, putting her on blast so she really can't say no. Fasana, would you be open to coming back next week to do another power hour so we can enlighten the world from this point forward some more, so they can have more of a holistic approach?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. You guys see that? That's called persuasive marketing. Put her in this place so she can't say no, because then she would be the bad guy on Facebook. Nobody wants to be the bad guy on Facebook, right? So anyways, in the last few minutes as we close up here, if you have any questions.
He's always putting me on blast, by the way. That's another skill, guys. Adaptability. You cannot let anything external to you throw you off of your game. I'm done. Okay, I'm done.
That's right. That's right. So on Facebook, if you have any questions, go ahead and put your questions down in the comments. We're going to ask Fasana those questions. We're going to spend the last few minutes getting warmed up. And then if you feel to it, you can hint to them what you're going to come back on next week. We'll figure out what it is, where you're going to go. But you can hint to answering some of those later too. But if you have questions right now, drop it in. Carolyn says, hi, Obama leverages. That's right. See, Carolyn knows me. We worked together before. I love you, Carolyn. But I have one question for you, Fasana, and then those of you here, you can unmic yourself or drop your questions in the comments on the Zoom. Here's my question. Obviously, you've checked me out for like 7, 8, almost 9 months before you decide to work with my craziness. What was it for you that, besides everything else, that said, you know what? I think I'm going to merge my brand with his brand. What was it that said for you, you know what? I'm going to partner with Dr. O and help refine both our messages together. What was it that did it for you?
So as most of you know, I speak energy better than I speak English. And it's funny because someone else had asked me that question and said, there's not much about this guy online. Like you said, you researched him. You said you studied him. How'd you find out the information other than just understanding whether it was like face level value, whatever? I was like, that's a great question, because I didn't look up his website. I didn't look up his bio. I studied his character. I studied his interactions with myself and other people. You guys, Facebook is like the best creeping tool on the planet. You want to know who someone is. You want to know what their energy is like. You want to know what's inside their mind and what their unconscious values are. Look on Facebook. What are they posting about? I realized that then, after doing some research and digging, then seeing him perform, I'm speaking to you, I'm answering your question. Then seeing you perform on stage as this like powerful master trainer, I was like, thank you, intuition. Like, go me. Long story short, you embody holistic wealth, like I mentioned earlier. You always do what you say you're going to do, and you have this incredible ability to be able to understand almost like the future because of the fact that you're such an incredible behaviorist. So when I realized that there was an older, more wise, wealthier, cool male version of me, it was kind of like the universe, smacking me in the face, telling me to wake up and surrender to finally allowing someone to come in and help me on this mission that I have to change the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the kind words and that you shared. There's one thing you missed though. You didn't say that I was balder. As you guys can see, I mean, she has all the hair, I got none. But I'm not bald. Ask Anna, this is a solar panel to a love machine. So it's verification right there, proof of the facts.
True that.
True that. Right,
Ooh.
so that's right, rub the Buddha. I shaved this morning. So
We had an extra second.
that's right. So I shaved it this morning. We have a question here in the chat, Fasana, from Phoenix. Phoenix always have these great questions, and then he was in the gym working out, then he was cooking his food. So here's his question. He says, Fasana, what are your top 3 superfoods that make you feel vital?
Oh, it's a good question. So instead of sit here in front to you, right? Like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm going to let Steph talk about superfoods tomorrow. But what I'm going to say is that for me, I'm all about holistic living in my life as a whole. I still enjoy certain foods. Like before Anna and Obam put me on blast and tell you how much I like spaghetti, right? I enjoy spaghetti.
With lots of butter. And
Parmesan cheese.
That's called balance.
So to answer your question, Phoenix, again, like the way that I think, I've got, I'm not going to get up and grab it, but I've got a holistic nutrition book that I pulled out that I want to start reading again. That's like this thick.
It's like this big.
Yeah, right. It's huge. You could kill someone. It's like a weapon. This book. It's so big and so heavy. But rather than go into that conversation, there are so many superfoods that I've learned throughout the years that I've tested. Again, like when we as individuals are seeking truth and knowledge, we're obviously asking questions so that we can benefit and add value to our lives and our health and improve our mental clarity and our vitality levels and so on and so forth, right? So for me personally, what I do is I found a company, and no, this is not a plug, but I'm just sharing my truth with you. I found a company that I consume superfood shakes from twice a day. I drink a lot of water all day long, right? And I'm constantly focusing on how I can put as much good quality food into my body so that if I want to, enjoy my pasta with Parmesan cheese and butter with my best friend Miracle in the evenings, that's okay. It's not taking away
pasta.
Yeah, that's all she says. So I'm gonna just, because we're wrapping up here having some fun. I'm just gonna interrupt your pattern for a second. And you said, you drink lots of water. So that means when we're done here, you got to go pee. We're holding you from going and pee.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I'm like sitting over here shaking because it's like. Well,
I'm so glad you're zenning out right now. And just just so you guys know, here on the Zoom and on Facebook, I'm going to ask 2 more questions so we can get her to go pee, right? Just so you guys know. Because I want to holistically not have her bleed through our eyeballs. Okay. And I'm saying that really because I got to go pee. So here's a question from Karen. Karen says, what was the breakthrough moment that gave you clarity to figure out what your purpose was?
The breakthrough moments that gave me clarity to continue to reaffirm my understanding of what I already knew my purpose was acting out of alignment and experiencing all of the contrast of everything that showed me what wasn't my purpose. So it was diving into other industries like real estate or getting involved in different companies for just the sole purpose of making money. It was doing everything that pulled me away from being present, being the most aligned, holistic version of myself, and simply teaching other people how to do the same thing. You guys, I have a confession. Like doing this training for you, this is the first time, like I said, that I've done anything like this live. And the reason that I hadn't done anything prior, it wasn't because of a lack of desire. It was because of a lack of feeling ready. It was because of, I'm working with Dr. O. Another reason why I friggin' love working with him, and all of our team will attest to this, is that we're really all taking our brilliance and our genius, and we're learning how to simplify it all. So again, being on this call, I wanted to be vulnerable. I wanted to share with you whatever I could. And also, I learned from this experience. So before the next and last question, I just want to thank all of you for joining me in that experience to actually help me and allow my growth.
Awesome. So instead of the next and last question, as you were sharing that, I just realized, I said, you know what? For version 2, I would like for version 2 to be in alignment with Karen's question, because
Okay.
her question was, what really did it for you? You use one example. I know you have several, because
Right.
there's so many people who are trying to find their purpose, and they're pursuing money, and the money is getting them off their purpose. So what I would like to ask is, version 2, if it could be like maybe the examples of those things that you've done that took you away from your purpose, if you're willing to go a little deep and vulnerable with us, so maybe some people can learn what goes on in their minds when they're seeking the money and misaligning with their purpose, how much they actually lose. And then what happens when they choose to align, how the abundance of that happen. And I think that's where you are now, is choosing to align. But really, I think part 2 should be that I, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank you for doing this with us today. Hey, come on, clap with me, people. It's church. We are coming back around 2 next week. Why? Because we're going to get on here, and in the famous words of my dear friend, the song we didn't say before is this: when we come back next week, Fasana is going to show you how she's going to work. Okay, so with that, Miss Fasana Patel, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. And as we leave, any last words of wisdom you'd like to share before we close out?
If anyone out there is really looking to create change in this time and become a better, more positive version of yourself, then remember this: closed mouths don't get fed. So make sure that you reach out to someone super positive and ask them what they're doing. Get involved in their networks. Join our mastermind. Do something for yourself, because it will, in fact, make all the difference.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, you got it there from Miss Fasana Patel herself. The closing session. Closed mouths don't get fed. Because I open my mouth, you guys get round 2 next week. And I put her in a place where she couldn't say no publicly. Even if she say no privately, she still have to reschedule a date. So I was looking out for y'all. If you're on Facebook, please hashtag thank you Fasana, and hashtag we'll see you again next week. I love you guys. Peace out.
Awesome.
This was another version of the Power Hour. See you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. But wait a minute, there's more with Miss Stephanie Boland. Say hi, Stephanie. Stephanie.
Hey, everybody.
Gentlemen, right? Ooh, as we close out here. Oh, lady. I'll see, I've been working on my gun show, taking them in there. I've been learning holistically how to get myself centered. Then I've been working from the techniques from Stephanie. She is a Guinness World Record holder. She is a bodybuilder. I mean, the girl is just crazy. She did some cowgirl stuff, riding, chasing around barrels and boats. She's back. She'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. sharp. Do not miss it, or I should say, be there, be on time, be positive with a pen and paper. We're going to have some fun, y'all. Bye for now. God bless. See you tomorrow at 1 p.m., everybody.